Hey guys, welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds. I'm Nerdarchist Ted, and today I'm joined by
Nerdarchy Dave.
Nathan Nerdarch.
And today we're going to give you 3 new ways to use your healing hit dice.
Now for Clerics.
Jump down the description below where you can sign up for Nerdarchy the newsletter, get weekly gaming tips, as well as learn how to game with Nerdarchy.
So our experiment is continuing with recovery dice, hit dice, healing hit dice, whatever you want to call them. At the end of the day, they all do the same thing. So now we're on to the cleric.
Right, so with Cleric, all of them have a number of different options, as well as there's a lot of different types of cleric. So I think if we stick towards ideas that all clerics can use rather than gear things towards specific archetypes, I think we might wind up with, better options.
Yeah, when there's only like 2 archetypes, it's really easy to go, okay, this one's for this one, this one's for this one.
Right.
Anybody can use this one. But when you have like 10 different cleric domains just in the player's handbook, it gets a little more tricky. So we have to figure out, what are 3 things that they're all going to be able to benefit from.
Right. So all of them have access to Channel Divinity, and Channel Divinity can be used by all clerics to turn undead, or each domain has the ability to do something interesting and different with their Channel Divinity. So what if we work with that?
Okay. Well, starting at first level, you get 1 Channel Divinity per short or long rest. 6th level, it bumps to 2. And it pretty much maxes out there, but you get them back after a short rest, so it's not as bad. But there's definitely been times when you're like, oh, I wish I could dust some more undead, or, whatever.
I wish I could talk to some more animals.
Yeah, there definitely has been times where I've said, oh, I could really use 1 more Channel Divinity today. But then there's been other times where I don't use it at all. So, but I'd like to have the option to use it again.
So what if we say, okay, well, you can spend your hit dice to recover a Channel Divinity?
I think that's fair enough. And the way we figured it out, you're only going to get to do that a couple times anyway, tops. So, you're really going to have to decide whether you're going to use it or not. And again, when the battle's over, you now have less healing hit die to heal with.
Right. Well, so that brings another point. What about healing? There are times that in the crunch of battle, you really wish that you could get more healing out of your spells, and you're not a sorcerer. You're not being able to, twin or maximize or do any of this other fun stuff. So what if we played around with that concept?
We could absolutely do that. So I have one misgiving about this.
Okay.
You're really doubling down on the clerics, the combat medic, he's the heal bot. Yeah. You're this, this is what this is all you're good for. But it gets played that way, so whatever.
This is the great part about adding an option into a rule set, is it's not going to work for everybody. Not everybody's going to want this. There are some times where like, well, I use my spells for, this particular battle pattern, and I'm going to save my hit dice for just spending them so I can heal myself during a short rest. And that's fine. I don't have a problem with it. This is an option for those people who aren't using their hit dice and want to be able to do more with it.
Absolutely.
It's just a bonus on top of something you're not using already.
So what are we going to do with it?
So what if we just said, okay, well, you can maximize a cure spell, specifically, cure wounds. We could stretch it out to maybe allowing like a mass cure. It's up to you guys. What do you guys think?
Oh, like where you basically, instead of where you could almost like twin it or something like that, or give it an area effect.
Well, there's those area effect healing spells. I think maximizing them might be a little rough.
Well, the problem
battle-wise,
they're all like low hit dice.
Well, it's like 3d8.
Right.
Yeah.
So okay, as opposed to 3 to 24, you're just giving them the 24.
Well, the other thing to consider too is, well, what happens when they bump the spell, right? So now it's a 5th level spell, and that's a lot of hit points that you just maximized.
Again, it's only going to go up by a d8 per level.
Yeah.
And you're still only able to do it so many times. So either we could limit it to specifically the spell Cure Wounds at whatever level you want, or any spell with the term Cure in the title.
I think Cure Wounds, I would limit it to that one specifically.
Okay.
That's my vote, but we could always just shelve it till we revisit this stuff.
Yeah, well, yeah. But, because there's definitely some considerations, like Healing Word, right? You're doing that as a bonus action already. It's only a D4. It's kind of weak, but it's also pumpable like the other spells. So, now, boom, 5th level, bonus action, boom, take 20 hit points, which could make a huge difference in a battle. Or even more so when you get into the mass spells, when that really exponentially increases it. So I would say for the purposes of this video and this discussion, we go Cure Wounds specifically. And then, like, after we do some playtesting and stuff like that, we could decide, from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Right,
we've
so
got one more left, right?
Well, speaking of bonus action, we could say that there are just some times where you just need to get that spell in, or you need to use your action for some other ability, like interacting with an object or attacking something, or what have you. Resuscitating the near dead. Don't die on me.
But I was trying to think of the name of spare the dying.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of the name of the cantrip that specifically does that. So like you said, you want to use that bonus action, and I guess the spare the dying thing that'll come up in a minute.
Yeah. So what I was considering was you could do everybody gets domain spells. So what if you could basically shift a domain spell from an action to a bonus action?
You would still follow the rules for casting spells. You can only cast one spell of 1st level or higher in a round. But you could then, that would open up, you want to use a cantrip, like I said, for Spare the Dying, or you really need to bring down the holy heck on somebody.
Now,
what is that, a Sacred Flame.
Now, I thought about this one, because we talked off camera, and you brought up the fact that it's already something that's in there with a sorcerer having the ability to quicken. So it's like, well, if you treat it like that, there's a limited option of what spells you can specifically do. And in the number of clerics that I've actually seen played in 5th edition, there's only so much of their domain spells that they're actually using on a regular day-to-day basis, or session-to-session basis. So I'm okay with it.
Well, also, too, I think, like you said, it'll encourage other clerics to maybe use a domain spell that they wouldn't use it, but because now they can use it as a bonus action, with this extra resource expenditure, maybe they'll start thinking about how they could.
Right.
Like, I looked at the very first one, and knowledge cleric has command on their list. Well, maybe now the cleric will be like, well, I can get it off as a bonus action, so maybe I'll try and use this and do something else as well.
Right.
Or a true strike thing. I'm always trying to figure out how to use that.
You're like, I know I can make true strike not suck. I know it.
Keep trying, Nate. Keep trying.
I don't know what domain spell that could be used with, but I have a dream.
A favorite spell in 3rd edition moved to the worst spell in 5th.
Well, I don't know about the worst. I mean, there is Blade Ward, which is pretty bad as well. Although I've seen people use it. I just don't think it's particularly good.
So that allows you to use certain cantrips like Blade Ward or True Strike, and in a capacity where you also get to cast a spell. So.
See, and then you could mix and match that, as I've done with my cleric. Is I could use a bonus action to say command, and then I could use my cantrip that I received from Magic Initiate, and cast my Flame Bolt.
You could absolutely do that. So it just offers more options for the cleric, gives him more interesting things he can do. One of the coolest things that a cleric gets is probably his channel divinity, but he doesn't get very many of them, so you don't get to use them. Or you don't get to have that epic feel of fighting a ton of undead and having the cleric just lay waste, to them. And, I kind of miss that a little bit. As a DM, like, if I know a cleric can just dust them, I'll put a bunch in there so they can do that. I'll just put more in there than they can possibly dust. But they get to feel epic because they've created, like, this coating of ash across everything.
Within a certain range.
Within a certain range. And they can still feel good about themselves, and they got to use their ability. But then
except the way you do it, it's like, oh, you're an undead, you use this ability, I'm going to now beat the crap out of you. So of course you're going to do that.
That's strategery, if someone's controlling undead.
Absolutely.
What do you guys think of these options for using your healing hit dice for clerics? Let us know down in the comments below. While you're at it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
You can tweet at us on Twitter at Nerdarchy.
You can also patronize us in a good way over on Patreon.
So until next time, stay nerdy.